All right, hey folks, I think I'm live. Give me a second here to check my signal, see if it's true. I'm going to go through a quick intro, and then we're going to get some artwork done this morning. Um, yeah, hold on, just real quick. Let's see, get to my channel, and we'll click the live button, and let's see if I make noise. And we'll click the live button. Hey, yeah, I make noise. How about that? If it makes noise.net. I'm going to check my volume here real quick. Make sure it's down towards the nothings. That looks really good, being close to nothing there. Let's get my screen set straight here. Copy, paste, and then we'll get started. Let's see. Pressing some social media buttons, and I'll be done here real quick. We're going to do some artwork today. My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. And I've been focused on creating content for Dungeons & Dragons, publishing on the DMsGuild. So I've been an Eberron enthusiast since 2004. I've been running games since 1987. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999, and I've been creating content on the DMsGuild since 2018. But I have yet to create any content specifically for Eberron or an adventure, my own adventure. So I am creating my own Eberron adventure to pay homage to Eberron and to check the box of having created a professional adventure independently of anyone else. So cheers. That's what we're doing, and I'm illustrating them. So I create books, I illustrate them, and I publish them. So we're in the illustration phase of this book. If you want to see ideation, creation, playtesting, you can check out my stream on Mondays and Thursday nights, including tonight. Tuesdays and Friday lunchtimes. These are the 4 days that I do game design online. And then Monday through Friday like this, we do artwork for whatever the next book is that's going to get published. So we can start setting up other books to have those get into the pipeline for us to be able to publish them as well. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's see. It looks like all my posts are done. So let me click these things out of the way. Click. And then we'll get into here. Let me fix my screen real fast so we can watch stuff. And I'll just say like, subscribe, bell icon. Holy Hannah. We have 6 new subscribers since yesterday. God bless you folks. I'm glad you guys are finding my stuff that I do is cool. But like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. And here is the full playlist of all 459 episodes that we've created before. Here's my Discord community. Support me on Patreon if you want, but if you really want to support me, buy my books. There's a slew of books that I have listed out right here. They all have free previews. If you're a 5e enthusiast, that's what we do here. So if the stuff that I make enhances the way that you play your game, then purchase what you think is cool to encourage similar behavior in the future. That was the book cover. We made it back around episode 40, and here's our here's our spread. For those that aren't indoctrinated, this is a 16 by 9 format page. It's hard to get it to fit exactly right because Photoshop doesn't snap the screen like your phone does, but here you are. If you put your phone on full screen, if you look at this, you can see all 3 columns together in the 16 by 9 space. But if you turn it vertically, it'll just get really small. But in a PDF device, if we were to do this, each column is also a 16 by 9 format. So you can either look at a whole page at a time and flip through it that way, or you can look at one column at a time and flip through it that way. Yeah, pretty cool. So I got my timer set. We're good to go. Yeah, let's get arty. Hey, good morning, Rel. How you doing, my guy? Let's see, where are we playing today? I worked on, I did the balance last night, the Scales of Don V. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. So I'm just going to let that dog lie. And yeah, I think that turned out pretty good. We still have the Carillon of Dalcor, the Crown of Zoriat, and the Sextant of Fernia. Are those the only 3 we have? 1, 2, 3. Holy Hannah. Yeah, we only have those 3 left. Okay, you know what? I'm going to work on the Sextant today. I didn't think I was going to do that, but I'm going to do that. Did not think I was going to work on the Sextant today. I'm going to duplicate the line art layer and then and then hide it so it doesn't get in the way. And for some reason, I feel like this line art just does not matter. It's because I'm on the wrong layer. That's the Crown of Zariat. You know what? I shouldn't really expect much impact to the Sextant if I'm on the Crown of Zoriat. That's not a sign that I'm supposed to be working on the Crown of Zoriat. I want to save the Crown of Zoriat for last, to be perfectly honest. So let's work on the Sextant of Fernia instead. That was the answer I was looking for right there. Duplicate. I'll catch up with you in a second, my guy. I'm going to take reference. We're going to drop that down into color. We got a line art. I'm going to push that up to the front, but I'm going to conceal it. I'm going to wrap those layers into a group that I can duplicate. Merge. And now we have one layer that we can work with at a time. Hey, what's up? Good. Time for raiding again. I don't know what that means, but good luck. You know what? I'm going to go back. Yeah, I want to drop the opacity on that. Now I feel happy. It's a little nitty-gritty details like this. It's I think I can resolve the Sextant today. I have a fair amount of confidence. Man, it's Thursday. I am so glad it's Thursday. Thursday, I love Game Design Thursday. It's the Bastion campaigns that we've been developing on stream here for the past couple months has been. It's just been a fantastic experience. I've never fully. I had started designing a domain system for 5e last year. No, 2 years ago, and 3 years ago. And almost 3 years, Jeebos, almost 3 years ago now. And from that effort, we got into army and squad combat, which got us into vehicle combat, which got us into the Spelljammer mechanics that we published a little bit over a year ago. It took us a year to develop, test, and publish the Spelljammer book specifically, and we had already spent a year developing the mechanics. So yeah, that was a 3-year process to get Spelljammer published off of the initial ideas. And then the command system in general, where those vehicle mechanics came from, that has now been an additional 4-month process. So it was 1 year developing the core concepts of the Bastion campaign, just the framework of it, like how does that premise work, and as a campaign concept, I've been running it for over a year with my home table, and they're having fun. They tell me they haven't abandoned the campaign and demanded that I switch it yet. So they're having fun enough to keep it around. And so the Bastion campaign that we've been developing for 5e here on stream, that is taking the lessons that we're learning from the playtest game and applying it to the 5e Bastion system that's in the DMG to convert it into the ability check challenge system that we've been using at my home table. And so we've been translating all that stuff into the actual 5e game engine and the document that we are streaming tonight and on Mondays. So we're almost done with actually developing out the first take of like the first draft of that book. So, and it's looking really, really good. So couldn't really be happier. Oh boy, I could spend a lot of time inside this fire. I just suddenly realized that I could spend a small eternity inside of this. Well, okay, let's get cracking. You don't get done until you start, right? Hey, what's up? So, if a person wants to take inspiration from introducing real cultures in their game because they're cool and all, whatever. Right. Historical ones, how do you do it correctly? How do you find good sources? I don't know about good sources, man. I'm not, you know what? If I want to borrow from okay, first off, is this a professional product or is this just you doing your thing? Because that's a huge difference in burden. If it's just your own thing, just take whatever it is about the culture that you think is cool. Try to be respectful in the process and make sure that you're gaming with people that get you so that they're not looking to got you. And assuming that's a space that you're in, then you just be free to have jazz, have fun, do whatever it is that you want to do with the culture, and you're good to go. And you don't have to really justify yourself because it's just you and your friends that give you the benefit of the doubt. If you're doing something professionally, that is a very big difference. Yeah, doing your own thing. You don't have to be respectful of cultures beyond the point where you need to be respectful for the cultures in regards to the people that you are gaming with. So if all you're going to do is game with your own friends anyway, fuck it, who cares? It's not important. If you're doing it professionally, you have to be on the lookout for bad faith actors that are going to look at what do you do and do they decide that they want to cause a problem with it. And in that light, A, don't let the terrorists win. But B, just make sure that, if you're unsure, then try to hire a sensitivity trainer and don't necessarily take their advice. Remember that sensitivity trainers only get paid if they find, they're contracted, and whether they find anything or not is separate from your gig, but your gig is a transaction. The industry is, after I finish your gig, I've got 3 more gigs set up doing the same thing. So if you never find any problems with your work, the people that are looking for problems with your work are going to find themselves out of a job because there's nothing to find. If you kill all the rats, you don't need a rat catcher. And this is a common industry issue where that are designed around problem solving, is that you either the problem is infinite and so you can build an industry around fighting that problem, or your industry is fixing problems and you kill industries where there is no more work to do because you solve the problem. Guess which one looking for problems in RPG industry context is? It's not curing a problem, it's perpetuating a problem by it. They have to ratchet up the intensity, otherwise you become inoculated to their warnings about cultural sensitivity. And this isn't knocking anyone that does that for a living. I'm just saying you have to be very, very, your business ethics have to be impeccable for you to be able to run an industry which is based around, I need you to change this thing because it's wrong. Prior to 2012? No, sorry, like 2022. I don't think there really was a sensitivity reader industry, and you got to question the people that are sensitive. Like, we're seeing this in the video game industry, and I don't have a horse in this race at all. But I do observe things, and I'm observing that video game companies that take to heart any cultural slight that content may present, the more they look towards crowing that they've invested resources in these inclusionary things, the less the audience seems interested in what the conclusion of that product is. So there's a very fine line between insulting a culture and homaging a culture, and I think a lot of it has to do with just intent, a purity of intent. There, that's the end of my rant, because I really don't have anywhere to go with that. I really have no horse in the race of one culture over another. I just know that when I make campaign worlds, I generally look at like what cultures do I just off the cuff think resonate with these ideas are, and I probably won't take it any further than that. I don't build cultures. I don't build what's the word I'm looking for? Like social cultural practices or anything like that. If I do, it's going to probably be on the fly as just narrative improving and in a detail that I otherwise don't really think is important. I personally, most of my games focus a lot on exploration and combat pillars of adventure. I'm not really interested in, role-playing TM. I don't care about character narrative. I'm from the school of games where your character's probably going to be dead before they do anything important, so who cares who they are? They are unimportant. And that is not the direction where the D&D community has been. I don't know if they've actually been led there, pushed there, or if they just stumbled into the current state of being overly concerned about language and representation of different lifestyles. I certainly think there's more presence of these sort of things in the role-playing industry than just normal like console gaming. Because role-playing games really are sort of a thespian sort of thing. And the thespian crowd is certainly vocal. And this is people that like to adopt personas or depict themselves in ways. Theater types. Anyway. But hey, thanks for the question, Rel. I wish I had a better answer for you. Take what you think is cool and don't worry about the rest. If it's for yourself, yeah, just take what you think is cool, mix it in with whatever else you think is cool, figure out how would those two things blend together and make changes as necessary, and that'll probably, just by borrowing from different things that are real that should help lean into things that aren't real that you don't know, but are logical conclusions to whatever it is that you're doing. Hard to think of an example here. Oh God, this is fun. You know what? My shoulder has really been tearing me up lately, and I never really considered it, but something just popped into my head that said, "Hey, maybe the antibiotics that you're taking for I have toe fungus. Of all the things that you need to know about Phil right now, I have toe fungus. It's not unusual, but all the topical stuff didn't work. So when your toe fungus doesn't go away with like foot fungus cream, like athlete's foot and stuff like that, when it's too powerful to get rid of that, you have to have an antibiotic, an oral antibiotic, and those biotics are so rough that you have to have a blood test halfway through the regimen to make sure that your liver isn't being destroyed. And I'm just now realizing that I wonder if one of the side effects, one of the side effects of the antibiotics course isn't sore joints. Because I would say for certain my joints feel fucking sore in a way that they haven't felt before, and it's just now starting to connect in my head. It's like, hey, you've been taking a regimen for 2 weeks now of an incredibly powerful antibiotic. Maybe that's fucking with your system a little bit. Hadn't considered it. It's probably American folks being, and I wanted to say it's probably American folks being, I think, yeah, probably. It's okay, maybe careful is better. Anyway, because this world is kind of, yeah. Ouchie. Ha! Toe fungus. Yeah, everything was, my body was shaking itself out, and then it just suddenly started rebelling and getting all whingy. And I'm like, why are you so whingy, buddy? But hey, luckily my blood test is coming up, so. Now working on this flamey stuff isn't it's not, I mean, none of these details are particularly important for this adventure. This is just a suggestion page of like what to do next after your characters are done, but I just think it's just the artwork is demanding the attention. Sorry, I got in a conversation in my head about, boy, you've been spending a fuckload of time on this. Let's try to make sure that we don't spend 1.5 years on the artwork, shall we? And I'm like, no, I think we're going to be good. But then that's when I started picking up the conversation externally. Sorry about that. It kind of moved quickly. Oh, hey, thanks. It's just white flaky nails. So it's probably eroding my lifestyle or the quality of my life in some non-specific way, like maybe the fungus is going to end up making me sick easier or something like that. I'll get the flu or whatever. So yeah, getting it gone is important, but it's not dangerous right now. Right now it's just in the your toes are really ugly stage. It's like not even flaky or anything. So I caught it pretty good. I caught it earlier than I could have, I was told. Like I could have let it go for another 6 months and then it would be like your toes are peeling. What's going on? No, I've been ignoring this thing for the past 6 months. It's like, you probably shouldn't have ignored that. So I didn't. Anytime I look at something and I say, what'll happen if I ignore this? And someone says, you shouldn't have ignored this. Like, what would be the process there? And that generally is good enough for me to get motivated to get things going. I've lived through that conversation often enough at this point that I'm not interested in being at the tail end of it where we're saying, well, if you had just done something smarter, this wouldn't be so stupid. Anyway, I got a bunch of new subscribers that I just picked up from, I'm guessing, as a result of watching the Dragonflight video that I produced earlier this week for Dragon Week, that Jenny D and Pointy Hat host each year. That's a fun video, and it's another excuse to talk about how cool the Spelljammer mechanics we developed on DMsGuild are, because those mechanics are really fucking cool. I probably could have called it Dragon Riders, and it probably would have done better. But it was designed to be used whether you're using riders or not. It's just, from a character-centric universe, it's all about, do I get to ride this or don't I? And that's probably how I should have, presented it. But I went with Dragonflight instead because that was a more accurate depiction of what I was trying to achieve there. Depiction, description is what I mean. I like this though. It's looking good. All I gotta do is that like a shitload more times, and I'll be done. We're just gonna work our way. We're just gonna work our way down the device, and when we get to the bottom, we'll probably be content and be done with it. But I'm anticipating getting the Krillin done tonight off screen. We're gonna do Bastion campaign stuff from. With any luck, 5:30 till 8:30, and then I'll have the rest of my night to resolve the Krillin and whatever is left of this, and then we'll work on the Crown of Zoriat tomorrow, and from there, if everything goes well, that'll be done tomorrow night, and on Monday when we come back, we'll start on another page, or we'll I think we'll continue on another. I've been doing a campfire illustration off screen, and it's getting close to done, so I figured I'd work on it on screen. So I paused that one and have been working on this page off screen to get it done so we can look at the new page. I want to work on a page here in the morning with you guys, get a lot done in the evening, so when we come up the next day we have like a lot of meaningful progress so that we can move through each page more swiftly on a day-to-day basis here. I think that'll help spark more interest here about the artwork that we're doing. Because if I have to sit on the same page for a month, that, you know, for casuals, that's a little intense, you know. That's the difference between like Diablo 3 and Path of Exile 2. I should say Diablo 4. That's super casual. This is mostly just blending, just making sure that the pixels fold together in a smoother transition. It was a pretty rough first draft that we have here. There's obvious chop, but I knew that I would be doing this smoothing this second passover, so I was okay with the roughness at the time because that's what the second passover is for, to smooth all this shit out. So hey, look at that, I'm smoothing shit out. I am fulfilling my social contract with the piece of paper, and that I am resolving it as intended, as requested. God, I've got the brain dead rambles going. Oh, that's it. I'm freaking tired. I had shit sleep last night. That everything's starting to make sense now. And I don't have my coffee. I need some coffee, dude. Let me grab a pot here real quick. How's the Marshall? Oh my God! Playtest. We're almost level 6. So playtest is coming along slowly. Thanks for asking, Ralph. Hold on, I'm gonna be right back. Yeah, it's coming along. The team has traveled far enough underground now that there's only remnants of temple left, and most of it has been collapsed from cave-ins and overgrowth and stuff like that. So the environment, they're in transition from, they've gone down a couple levels. So we're at the bottom of the temple, and it's opening up into Underdark at this point. And there's less like guardian statues and like built created undead from the temple's rituals. And it's transitioning more into independent undead and monsters. So I think the narrative transition away from structured dungeon into the caverns of the Underdark, that process is running smoothly right now. Because you have to have transitions from one biome to another during mega dungeons. Otherwise, your mega dungeon feels flat and it gets boring. But it's coming along, and the team keeps excuse me for a second. We keep finding flaws, or like interactions. It's not flaws. It's synergies and optimizations that, if left unchecked, break the game and embarrass me for publishing it, having not known it would break the game. Hence the importance of playtesting. So the team that we have right now is doing a really, really good job about making observations and trying to min-max the system to be able to break it, so that we can figure out how we, if someone wants to try to break this game, how do we change it so this doesn't break it, or they can't do that. That's what you do when you find things that break the game. You either fix the thing that breaks the game, or fix the ability to choose that thing that breaks. Like for example, one of the sustained powers, Dire Impact, has a static bonus that grows over time, pretty much at the same rate and intensity as your ability modifier. So like we have 5th level characters that have like a static +10 or plus anywhere from +9 to +11 static bonuses to every attack, and it's too strong. It's just too strong. Like if you stack Barbarian Rage with Dire Impact with high stat gain, and then like a fighting style, you can get your passive bonuses to damage up to. It'll eventually be up to +12 if we don't leave it. No, it would be 6 + 5, 11. It would eventually stack up to +17 damage before you roll the die, and that's too much. So we have to fix that, but I don't have a solution yet. So we're continuing to observe the problem, and the solution might just simply be get rid of Dire Impact, because sometimes throwing things away is the best way to protect the majority of the project. And it's just one sustained power. If it's that problematic, do we need to rewrite the game to retain it? No, we really don't. But that's the biggest complication we have so far, and that's great. That's probably, I mean, the easiest fix is just get rid of it. That's easy. But then the challenge is, but how do we make it? How do we keep it? What can we do to keep it now that we know that it can't work as it is? Do we destroy it, or do we just alter it so that it works? So not only does it provide an increasing static hit point, damage roll bonus, but it also allows you to re-roll power dice. Like if you roll below your rank, the die then defaults to whatever your rank is. So if you're a 5th level character at 2nd ranks of power, whenever you roll a power die, if it's a 1, it becomes a 2. At 13th level, if it's a 1, 2, or 3, it becomes a 4. And so that continues to stack up and become more and more effective. But on its own, just that improved hit point, or that improved die roll, that's not strong enough to stand on its own. It needs some sort of static support that is strong at first level and stays strong throughout the campaign. And like a static +2 bonus might be a solution, but it doesn't feel like a satisfying solution. So I've avoided going that route, but I could very well just go, we'll just change the bonus. Instead of being 1 plus your rank, or basically instead of being your proficiency bonus and damage, static damage increase, it could just be a flat +2, like a fighting mastery would, like a fighting style would be. But I don't yet know if that's the right answer. So I'm contemplating. Timely timer. Thank you. I'm considering that. But that's the biggest problem we have to consider. As soon as when we hit level 6, we open up all 13 classes. So like we can have wizards and clerics and druids and bards in the party now, and freely multi-class as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing the team Diversifying, stepping out of just the marshals. That'll be a lot of fun. And we've picked up a lot of new faces, so we're at the point where like we're almost oversaturated with players, which is a great feeling. It's great to have a large enough crowd that you don't have to worry about whether we're going to actually be able to play or not that day, because the pile of people is too thick. That's where I was hoping to get to. But I will definitely get a copy to you when it's done, Rel. I appreciate your participation in it as well. What's up? Oh. Huh. Yeah, probably. Yeah, getting rid of it. I mean, that's the ultimate. That's the dead. That's the bottom of the line, right? Very possible to get rid of it. I could take the stabilized dice and potentially put it someplace else. We'll see. This is the last session that we're running Dire Impact as it sits, just to be able to mull it over a little bit further. Next week I might just be like, yeah, don't take it. Let's see how life feels without it. That feels pretty good. Mass combat. Mass combat's good. The Bastion system, the mass combat system for the Bastion system, the Bastion conflicts, it works great. The more in-depth 5e combat mechanics that I built for mass combat, those work incredibly well too. I just haven't published them. I've play tested them a lot, and they're very effective. Right now I'm tinkering with the mob rules in the DMG, because the way that the new 5e24 mob rules they're god awful. They're as bad as a THAC0 chart, because you determine how many creatures hit you on a chart. It's not a die roll, it's a chart. And charts are lazy. Charts are lazy design, or for people that don't know any better. That is a very opinionated, barbed statement to make, but seriously, looking up things on a chart is like the worst. It is worse than rolling initiative in game flow. But it happens every time you make a die roll. It's like, just figure out how to say the die roll, so that you don't have to look at a chart after you do die roll. And I did not expect that from Wizards of the Coast when they came up with mob, new 5e24 mob mechanics. It was absolutely god fucking awful. So, like usual, we fix it. That's what we do here. We take the 5e game engine, the best game engine in the world, and instead of leaving it in the hands of the people that built it but don't know how to use it, we rebuild it so it runs good. It's a very vain, big, bold statement, but they're running out of people at WotC that are better than me. So I can start saying things like that. That technically means I'm failing forward, which is not an achievement. But it's where we're at. It's not I'm failing. When you hear failing forward, if all you hear is forward, you're missing the point, because you're still failing, but you're just getting in further over your head. But if the organization is putting you into a position where you're in over your head in the first place, it means that the organization doesn't know its own processes well enough. That's a problem unto itself. So by by promoting people that are problematic and not detecting that they're problematic before they're promoted is unto itself our problem. That indicates that the system is broken down, and that is not me saying that anyone at WotC has failed forward. I'm just saying that the top dogs all quit, and whoever's left, someone's got to step up. I think they've already hired externally someone else, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, hey, new direction. You got to have a head. So that was the appropriate solution that WotC/Hasbro produced. You know, let's hire a new dude. That new dude is out from, if they're from outside the culture, they're going to bend interpretations and intentions and directions of where it's going that may not necessarily have anything to do with where it's been going currently. So it could be really good, it could be really bad. We won't know until probably a year from now when they start dropping stuff under new leadership. But I'm looking forward to it. I hope the game engine remains relevant for a long time to come, because I love building for the 5e game engine, and I would hate to see the entire edition collapse. That would sadden me. That would sadden me very much. But I'll be moving on to my own role-playing game eventually anyway. So I'm just kind of hoping 5e remains relevant enough for me to say everything that I wanted to say with the 5e game engine before it becomes passé. We'll see. I do not have a successful history of staying ahead of trends. I am no forecaster, so we'll see how this all shakes out. We'll see. I do not have a successful history of staying ahead of trends. I am no forecaster. So the intent of all of this is eventually for me to stop needing to publish books on DMsGuild, to have all the core mechanics that I need already published on DMsGuild, and then I can just go to my Patreon and I can just start doing weekly builds on stuff. Like, you know, like a Sedgwick subclass, or like a Swiftblade subclass, or like, here's how you use mana with a Minotaur. Like, so have a bunch of Minotaur abilities that stack. And you burn mana on racial features instead of class features. Like, I like that idea, but I don't necessarily want to tie that to a specific book on DMsGuild. The new SRD 5.5 dropped this week. Bastions are nowhere in it, so Bastions are still proprietary. Which means that building out the Bastions book with intent for DMsGuild was the correct instinct, and I can just continue on course as it stands. But if Bastions had become creative content, I would have happily published the Bastion campaign book on ttrpg and my Patreon. But alas, earwax. If Bastions had become creative content, I would have happily published the Bastion campaign book. Myself feels pretty good. But alas, earwax. I'm really happy with where we're at. I don't know if what I'm rambling about today is any fun for anyone to listen to. It's the space that I'm in. I just run the play, you know. I open the mouth and I let the words happen. We spent a lot of time talking about that yesterday. That was fun. I love when the muse gets on a rant. She just talks about whatever the hell fuck she wants. It's great. voice that tells me lies. There. Blend it in. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to. I'm just doing a blending, smoothing things out, make it look pretty. And so yeah, I'll be able to. I'll probably have to work on this tonight, which means I'll have limited capacity for the Krillin tomorrow. But I will be starting on a new page I'm certain by Monday. I think I can get this page resolved on Saturday. I'm playing my Curse of Strahd campaign that I get to play a sorcerer in. I do a lot. I do a lot of artwork while we play because again, pixel time doesn't require my attention. I can still role play and clack some math rocks here on the table while I set my stylus down for a minute. And then, it's going to be another 7-8 minutes before it's my turn in combat again. So I'm just going to crack out some pixels real quick and pay attention to what's going on and set my stylus down, do my math rocks again, proceed. And a lot of people on my team are a lot more into role-playing than I am. So there's a lot of in-character conversations happening during Strahd that I'm just here for the exploration and the combat. Like that's I specifically I know what I like and I cater to it. If they ask my opinion, I typically use third person, and that's just the kind of narrator that I am. Like I've had too many characters to get too into character. I keep that emotional distance from my user interface in the fantasy world. There. That feels good. These are very nitpicky details. Well, hello, Nathan Kruer. Can definitely relate to sketching while the rest of the table is doing stuff. Yeah, absolutely, man. Welcome to the mix. It's you can keep your eyes occupied, but my brain isn't really engaged. I've put in at least 15,000 hours into artwork at this point, so it's really easy for me to be able to, walk and chew bubblegum at the same time, as it were. Oh my god, ice water in the fridge, so cold, it's so satisfying. And then I heat it up with some coffee. To stay hydrated, you have 2 cups of water for every 1 cup of coffee, or 2 to 1 ratio. That helps make sure that you stay hydrated. But thoroughly gassed up. Curving that out. It's tiring. It takes a long time. God, yeah, it takes a long time. It's artwork is not fast and easy, my dude. If it was, everyone would be a great artist. We wouldn't need Midjourney. So It's just, it's, you know, does it catch you on fire or doesn't? Pardon the pun. There's nothing wrong with being casual about art if it doesn't catch you on fire. But when it catches you on fire, you are fucked. Because they will not let you go. There's nothing wrong with being casual about art if it doesn't catch you on fire. But when it catches you on fire, you are fucked. They will not let you go. Up my opacity, up the strength of my smudge brush a little bit here so I can blend a little bit easier, a little bit more thoroughly. There. So yeah, we do artwork like this Monday through Fridays in the morning, like we are right now. And then we do game design on Tuesday and Friday lunchtime, and Monday and Thursday night, like tonight. So I stream 9 times per week. And it's always whatever the next, you know, whatever books I've got in the work. That's typically how it goes. I think, you know what, if I exploded and suddenly found myself with a lot of growth as a company, I would probably, the first thing I would probably hire would be a co-writer that's really good with fluff text, descriptive stuff. Because while I'm really good with technical skill, and I'm only rudimentary in being able to provide, you know, like descriptive text, like naming things flowery and just narrative stuff like that. After that, the second thing that I would hire, assuming that I could hire more than one person, would probably be a dedicated playtester. Like a playtest manager, you know? Like, I will run this game, and if I can orchestrate more people playing this game, I will find them and orchestrate them to do so. Third would probably be a social poster of some sort. Like an engagement, somebody who could help me build an email list and crack out content on a monthly basis. I think that'd be healthy. What I'm really doing is just is like structuring and organizing the hats that I have to wear to have a successful business, which I, for some reason, am becoming more and more interested in. It's as I said, the muse is going to hand me whatever the next thing is that I'm supposed to do, and since she can see from on high outside the time-space entropy window, she knows the right steps to take. As long as I trust her guidance, I'm going to end up exactly where I'm going to want to be, and I'm going to be a lot happier where I land than where I was. That's generally how it works. That's what intuition is for, to lead you to the places that you want, you've said that you wanted to be. The intuition can see the things that you cannot. Let's blend. Blend to win. Hey, Text, what's up? Well, hey, Zaid. A game designer working for somebody today at the grocery store. His Jeep was decked out with game fan stickers right on. Handed him a business card and took his cart back to the store due to cash leg. Oof. Castle like nice. Hell yeah, man. Well done. Well, A, good citizen, but B, yeah. Well done. we go. Blend that in. So I do I do a sketch, and then I ink the sketch, and then we do artwork underneath the line art like a comic book, and then we bond the line art to the color work, and then we do texture. So I'm technically in the texture stage for this particular piece. I'm basically smoothing the line art into the color art and getting rid of the artifacts and just, you know, goodifying it. I don't necessarily have this level of attention to every piece that I do, but sometimes pages call to me and I have to do the work. And oh yeah, if you guys are new, get out of the corner here, buddy. This is the 16:9 format, so if you're looking at me on full screen, you should probably see, it's difficult to make it match up exactly in Photoshop because it's not a snap to screen, but there you go. Again, this is the 16:9 format on a device. You can see here that one page fills a space. Each page is also, each column is also a 16:9. I can't demonstrate it here because again, Photoshop, I can't rotate my monitor like that. But yeah, when the book is done as a PDF, it's a 12-point, just the body text is 12-point font. So it should be sizable enough for anybody to just be able to casually read this on their device, but they can turn it vertically to hyper-focus on a specific column. But yeah, so the resolution is really high. This is a pretty intense page that I've been working on, but I'm really happy with it. This is probably like, I'm going to guess the most intense artwork in the entire book, like on this page specifically. And so it's good to do the highest effort first when you have the most energy. Like you want to do your book cover before you're even, like I start working on a book cover when I send material off to an editor to chew on, so that by the time the editor's done chewing and they send it back to me, the book cover is done, and now the process of breaking the text down into page layouts is inspired because I have the book cover already. The last thing you want to do is be in a place where the only thing that's preventing you from publishing is you need the book cover art, because the book cover is the first impression that people are going to have about whatever else is inside of it. So you want to make sure it looks good. So you work on the heaviest lifting first when you have the most energy. So as you just naturally fatigue with the process over time, the daily task of whatever it is that you're trying to achieve becomes less and less painful, or less of a lift. So you can maintain a steady line of effort and results throughout the piece. You don't get quagmired in, this is requiring more energy than I can spare right now, and that's what causes you to procrastinate, burn out, or shift gears and prevent a project from getting completed. High-level shit you got to work on through there, but you have to understand your process. Everyone's going to be a little different, I guess, but that's my professional advice over the past 7 years of doing things like this. I'm tilting. See how I'm tilting my head and leaning in? A, I'm not close enough, but B, it means I'm thinking too much about this. So I need to really just let my brain turn off and let the muse take the wheel and make this stuff look right. The muse knows what it looks like. She already has a copy of it in her hand. She's just leading me through page by page to get me to where it's supposed to be. There. What time is it? It's 7:30. I got 20 more minutes. I'm gonna restart my 20-minute timer. I think there's some text here. Completed the quest. Hold on. Right on, guys. It's doing it and doing it and doing it until it's done. Artwork is amazing for building. For building emotional endurance, and it's really, really good for regulating your chemicals. Like I can't find a dopamine rush that's as good as art, as just producing art. Every little victory that I make, like in having a curve look good, it's a little squeeze of dopamine. It's like, good job. And the dopamine function is there to reward behaviors, to reinforce you did good there. We chemically reward you for that task. And the more I get chemically rewarded for the artwork, for good line art, the better my line art is going to get, because I want my brain to give me a fix of like a good boy. Give me praise drug, please. Praise drug, please. So you can train your own system to praise you for tasks that you value and want to see achieved. And I've sculpted my chemistry to basically provide me the biggest kicks through hard artwork, like getting perspective right. Like, perspective is a bitch. Getting the perspective right, or getting the material right on a texture, or figuring out a gesture. That was a big challenge. Like the more I have to grind on making it right, the more it builds up that release. So that when I finally go, there it is, then I start to get the flood. You get that rush, that momentary euphoria, but it doesn't last long, because it just has to be there to reward you long enough to get you to begin repeating the behavior that'll set up its next cascade. I find that really ironic, because artwork is such an isolated solo task that I think the people that are drawn to artwork are people that I'm going to step out here on a limb and say the tortured artist trope is an archetype, because so many people get into art because they escape into their inner space, and they're trying to find a way to express themselves even though they close themselves off. So the intense isolation and individual effort that goes into most art projects is compelling to somebody that is introverted and needs private time, like quiet self-time to heal. That time spent in isolation working on that piece of art is also time that they have to heal themselves. And that healing process bonds to the effort of pixeling, or artwork, whatever it is that you're doing, sculpting or whatever. But it bonds. I think it bonds to that process, so that you start to build this feedback loop where, if you're dealing with your damage, you're compelled to do your artwork, because it's a place for you to escape and let those thoughts be able to find a place to escape out of you, because you're not controlling things anymore, right? It's like that. It's that flow state. Once you get into the flow state, you're not controlling what's happening anymore. You're participating. You're, to a certain point, witnessing what you are capable of accomplishing when you get out of your own way. And you have to get good enough at what you're doing to see that you can get out of your own way and accomplish more. And that's when the magic really starts to happen. And I think people that are broken enough to want to desire that level of escape from themselves, to dive into deep art like that, they come out the other end stronger. And I think more self-aware and more self-informed. But you have to endure the crushing loneliness to get there. So, I logged in 20 some hours of 20 years worth of freelance work before I started streaming. So I went through all that process of isolation, but the reason I started streaming is because I don't have to be isolated anymore. I can interact with people. So even though it's a parasocial relationship I have with my chat community, it's an opportunity for me to get input and to share feedback on stuff, which is all conversations can ever really be. And so what has been an isolated experience for the first 20 years of me doing it is now opened up to a space where I can share the feelings that I have in real time as I have them. And I'm finding that pushing the pixels allows me to release the feelings, the intentions behind these things much more easily. But I had the advantage of training in that isolation for a long time to be able to build that relationship with myself. If you want to know yourself, you have to spend time alone with yourself. That's true with anybody. If you really want to know somebody, you have to spend time alone with them when things are quiet and they're unguarded and they're relaxed and they aren't performing for a public iframe, Just kind of word salading there a little bit, but hopefully it's coming through. And there's text. What's up? All right, it's just time alone. I'm feeling, man, life is balance. Yeah, me too, man. All right, it's just time alone. I'm feeling, man, life is balance. Yeah, me too, man. Yeah. For humans to develop, we have to spend time alone, but humans are a social creature. They need interaction with other people. So there's like this tide. The tide is low, you're spending time by yourself. The tide is high, you bring in who you become as a result of that self-contemplation. It's a cycle. Being around people is as imbalancing as being alone all the time. Everything in moderation, including moderation, must be moderated. You have to be excessive sometimes so you can burn out on something so that you can open up that space for whatever is supposed to be new to replace it. So if you don't grind the guardrail, you never find your limits. You have to find your limits to be able to expand who you are. Life is just a stack of cascading ironies and paradoxes. And it's how we resolve all those conflicting ideas that we define who our personality is inside of that slurry, that confused slurry of activity. It's important. We're slowly working our way down the page. But yeah, I'm guessing I'm not going to end up finishing this on screen today. I'll be back doing game design tonight. Typically by 6 p.m. If I start sooner, that'd be great. It's Seattle time here. It's almost 8 o'clock here in Seattle, so that means 10 hours from now, I should be on stream. So typically between 5:30 and 6 o'clock Seattle time. That's typically when I'm going to start working on Mondays and Thursday nights. And the Bastion campaign is getting very, very close to its first draft is completed. So we're working on Bastion events and complications right now. We're just codifying and structuring it all. The ideas are there. They're just not very, they just might not be very pretty in their presentation. So we're doing some cleanup there and also doing checking for consistency and structure. And trying to make the description of the events as vague as possible, yet inspiring to move in different directions. Which, that sounds kind of like word salad a little bit, but if you tag in with me tonight or catch one of the previous Bastion campaign episodes that I have on my live streams, you'll get the gist pretty quickly. It's a pretty basic idea, but it's just no one spends time on it. Or if they do, they try to take it out of the 5e game engine. It's like 5e game engine is fucking amazing. The people that created the 5e game engine didn't really want it does what they want it to do, and they don't really need it to do more. But me to run the kind of campaigns that I want to run for my players, I need the 5e game engine to do more, because I actually run campaigns from level 1 to 20. And when you run multiple campaigns from level 1 to 20 in the 5e game system, you start to think like we gotta have better tools than just dungeon punking. It's too tight of a frame for what you can actually do with the 5e game engine. There's way more style you can put into campaign if the mechanics were there to support it, but that's such a niche idea that you can't expect Wizards to dive into the niche of things, because that's what bankrupted TSR, embracing niche, and it just crushed them. So I don't expect Wizards to repeat that mistake, which is why the DMsGuild is so fucking nice, or just the OGL and the SRD licenses in general is allowing other people to be able to play with the tools, to be able to create different narratives that Wizards would never invest the time in, because it's not. Niche markets are not economical when you are the 500-pound, when 800, 1,000, a billion-pound gorilla in the room. When your name is synonymous to the industry, you do generic shit so that you can cover the widest swath of audience and have the easiest entry point. In that sense, Wizards has absolutely branded D&D correctly, but they get shat on a lot by people in the industry, especially the YouTubers that their algorithm pushes being shitty. So, I mean, take that for a grain of salt. But I love the 5e game engine, so I want to see it work. So I build tools to make it work the way that I want it to, and still... Like, you can make a mass combat system or a domain system, and many have tried. And whether they're successful or not, none of them really use the 5e game engine. For the most part, you can't just drop characters into virtually any domain or mass combat system that's out there. Once you start playing it, you stop. To an extent, you stop playing 5e. Either immediately or just like, it just... Very few systems just stay inside the 5e game engine, using 5e game turns and 5e variant rules to achieve non-5e things. And that's my dig at other possibly more popular creators than myself that have attempted to operate inside this space. Most of them try to get away from 5e when they're building the tools, because they have an idea of how it can work, but don't invest the time to find out how it can work with the engine you're using. And so that's my big thing, is if I'm going to play 5e, I'm going to keep playing 5e, even though I'm going to do this Dominion style campaign, or even though I'm going to lead this army in a battle, or Spelljammer, whatever. I want the 5e game engine to be, because those are the mechanics that we know. And when this adventure is over, we're going to go back to normal 5e mechanics anyway. So I don't want to do a heist mission and build characters for Blades in the Dark. It's like, no, just teach me how to run a goddamn heist game in the game engine where my characters are at. So I'm on a rant. Don't mind me. But that's like the premise of almost everything that I want to build. It's like, if someone asks, how can I do X, Y, or Z in the 5e game engine? To me, that says there's not enough stuff built in that style of game in the 5e game engine that you don't just automatically know where can I go or what can I do to make this thing work, because no one has created that definitive product that says this is how you run a heist in 5e, for instance. Or maybe it does exist and I just haven't found it yet because, you know, my point. There's not enough. But yeah, switching game engines is such a cop-out. People that say just switch campaigns when you want to operate in a different style are people that have probably never played past level 5 in a campaign. Because they would get it otherwise. It's like, no, I need to stay in this game because I'm going to keep playing this game. It's my session isn't going to cancel next month and never start up again. I've got the same team that's going to sit at my table for the next 275 hours so we can go from level 1 to 20. And along that way, I'm going to have heists. I'm going to have mass combat. I'm going to have Dominion. We're going to plane hop. You are going to build grudges against alternate rivals, and having mechanics for all that stuff be available to make your game run smoothly throughout all 20 levels, like that's the goal. But Wizards doesn't dive into that because statistically 95% of the games are going to end before level 12. So why fucking bother? Anything above 12th level becomes niche. And they limit their exposure to niche audiences because their overhead is so massive they can't afford to. It has to appeal to the broadest base possible, which means stay focused on the single level, like the single digit level. Tier 1 and 2, that's your focus. Because that's where all the entry is at. That's where all the money gets spent for most of WotC. I'm ranting a lot. Hopefully that's jiving with people. But I'm also almost out of time. It's 7:50. I've got like a few minutes left. Kids. Yeah, that's probably Adam Hancock's book. It might not be. He has the like an orc and an elf have a baby. He has a whole series of books like that. But that's I think blending species into half-breeds. So it's probably not the same book you're talking about. But yeah, that's super niche. But some people are really into that sort of stuff. If there's somebody that makes a book about something, it's probably because there's enough of a niche audience to make that book valuable to them. Let's do like that. Let's just do like that. And blend here. Sorry, a fit of silence. Can you see my brain took over? It's like it's being nitpicky with these details here. It cut off the flow state momentarily as I'm whinging over specific details here in my own real-time mind space. I like that though. Looks good. There we go. That looks really good. I'm happy with this. Just blend, blend, blend. Blend it in. My timer went off. It's time for me to go to my day job. And I will get out of there and return here and be live somewhere between 5:30 and 6 o'clock tonight. I'm going to work on the Bastion campaign for probably 2 or 3 hours. We're resolving complications and Bastion events to frame the complications inside of. And that's been coming along really nicely, but we're still... we resolved the events. So we're working on complications now. So... we'll finish. We'll probably finish the language on complications tonight, and that will once we finish this last pass of complications, the first draft of that book is done, or rather, all the mechanics in that book are done. I still have examples and connective tissue and all the speak language that goes on to making a book beyond just the ideas of it. But it's but as of I'm thinking at the end of tonight that's going to be all the mechanics will be resolved, and it'll just be a matter of adding the narrative details and stuff, and I don't know if that means that I'm going to set it down for now and let it play out. I might get back into doing Spelljammer stuff for a little bit, because I build a book and I have to let it sit because I can't. I'm already working on other books. My pipeline is full. So I get to a certain point and I have to put the book on hold while I clear my plate of whatever is currently the primary project, and this is my primary project. And once this gets published, then that frees up all the creative energy in the mornings for me to start in on book covers and stuff for the next projects. But this is my primary project right now until it's done. And I know my timer went off. I'm supposed to be going. The muse isn't letting me go yet. She's just picking at stuff here really quick, and I just let her do what she wants. She knows when she'll be done. You don't take a dog to a dog park because you're on a schedule. You take a dog to the dog park because you specifically don't have anything scheduled. So you can let your dog just run and fuck around for a couple hours like a natural animal should. Muses, being natural animals in the spiritual environment, also need to have their off-the-leash time. I think there's some text going on down there. Hold on. So, hey, right on. Thanks, Rel. What's in just spell slots? This is all spells. I all make material components, upgrade them. Well, you know. Styles of game, man. It's different styles. Different preferences that different designers have. I can afford to be very opinionated without thinking that somebody else is wrong for having a different preference. I've seen too many preferences in too many game systems with too many different tables with too many valid points to say that there's only one way to do things. Like Sammy Hagar said, there's only one way to rock, and when Sammy Hagar figures that one way out, he's going to make a lot of money. But until then, he's still trying to find it. But if you don't know who Sammy Hagar is, then that joke's not nearly as funny. Because making fun of Sammy Hagar is a fun thing to do. Poor Sammy. He just wants to play. All right. All right, she's done. Whew, man, she's letting me go. I'm going to take the opportunity to get out of here while I can before she latches onto me again. But yeah, okay, we've almost got that done. I bet I can. I'm going to set this aside and finish it during Curse of Strahd on Saturday. We're going to be back. We're going to work on the Crown of Zoriat in the morning. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to work on the Carillion of Dalcor off screen tonight. And then, so when we come back tomorrow, with God's grace, we'll finish the page tomorrow, and then on Monday for certain, we're going to start in on. We're going to work on a different page. This one will be done, so we can step away from this one and drop into the next page. And from here on forward, pages should be moving a lot faster than this one did, because there's a lot of shit going on this page. All right, that's it. It's 8 o'clock. I got to get out of here. I will see you guys maybe in 10 hours or tomorrow morning, whenever. Like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Catch you later. Bye.